Bonjour! So today we're going to learn about the present tense in French. So I'm going to share my screen. So basically, there's many different verbs in French and many of them end in ER. So if they end in ER, they follow the below pattern where the letters are in the purple color. So here we have parler, which is to speak. So when we go down to here, I speak, you say je parle. But when you go to you speak, you say tu parles. You see how the ending changes. It goes from parler up here with its ER on the end. But when I put it with I, we drop the R and we just have the E. When you have it with you add an ES. When you do it with he, she, and we, you have just the E. So the way that I explain it is you take off the ER and you add back the E. You take off the ER here and you add back the ES. You take off the ER and you add back the E. Why do we even need to do this? Because in English, you say I speak, he speaks. See how it changes as we change pronoun, the verb needs to adapt. And then we go over to we speak, nous parlons. That's the other form of we. So you have to take off the ER and add ONS. And then you speak, the formal and plural form of you. Vous parlez, take off the ER and turn it into EZ. And lastly, they speak. So we have the masculine il and the feminine elle, parle. Take off the ER and add ENT. And this ENT is silent. So you just need to learn this pattern. Basically, you need to remember these purple letters. So I'll show you how it can be applied with all verbs that end in ER. Most verbs. There will always be some exceptions to the rule. So with number one, we have the verb in the brackets, casser. So casser is to break. We're not too concerned about what the sentence actually means here. We just want to make sure we know how to use it. So we go, okay, it's an ER verb. We have il. So we need to look up above and we see where it says il. And you see how we've dropped the ER and we just added back the E. So we do the same thing here. So we put il casse. So that's the answer. So I'll underline the E because we'll say that that is the ending. Okay. And then maybe I'll pop it. Voilà, in noir, that will stand out. Then number two, il brille, it shines. So il means he and it. So we have the same thing again. We go to il, and it's an ER verb, briller. So we have to take off the ER and pop the E back. Then we have nous. So the verb is chercher in brackets. So we need to go nous, look above. When the verb is with nous, we need to add ONS. So we take off the ER and pop ONS back on. So we have chercher, take off the ER and pop the ONS. So cherchons, comme ça. Voilà. And après, we have number four, je gagne le prix. So gagner, the ER, it needs to be with je. So we look up here and it's je parle. So you take off the ER and you pop an E back on. So we do the same thing to this verb. So je gagne le prix. Take off the ER and we're just left with the E, which I'll pop in black. Voila. So that R there is crossed out. Then we have on donne le livre à Pierre. So donner, ER, take it off. We have it with on, look up here, and on here has an E on the end. So we just put the E, take the ER off and pop the E back on. Voila. And then tu, fermer, ER verb. So you go to tu and see it's ES. So up here, we just take off the ER and we pop ES back onto it. Comme ça. Now let's continue the rest together. So we got vous and the verb is fréquenter, fréquenter. So we need to go up to vous and you'll see that it's EZ ending. So we're just going to say, what I'll do, yeah, fréquente, and we add, I'll do it in capitals this time, EZ, so it stands out. So vous fréquentez, comme ça. And it nicely put the accent on for me, on the E. Voilà. Il, so il is plural, we don't say the S. It's chanter, so we have to go up here, chanter, ENT ending, so we're going to add it to the verb. So chante, we've got the ER, we remove the ER, and we add ENT. Il chante. That ENT is actually silent in every single verb. That when you add ENT, it's always silent. Regardez, same pattern, ENT. So we say regarde, ENT, do it in capitals just so you can see that it stands out. And then the last one, vous. So we've got préparer. And so I'll take this word, and you know that if it's vous, we're going to, voila, we're going to remove the ER, and we're going to add back the EZ. Because look up here, vous, EZ. Voila. The purpose of doing this is that you make the verbs usable, because parler means to speak. So you can't do this. You can't say je parle, because that's I to speak. We just want to say I speak, which is why we need to learn this pattern. We do it in English. Like I said at the start, I speak, he speaks. So we just learn the same patterns. Voila, the tenses are always just to do with patterns. Merci beaucoup. Voilà, salut.